So he says the question is explaining how Kalim are Ein Areich. Kalim is the side of the Mutze, which is the Erech Nevroim. Why? Because it too is Gvul. Yeah? As we said in his test. That's a Chochmah Timotze, because the Hagdorah, the tzir of Chochmah is not, you can't find in Pshitas. L'gabe Pshitas ein of yesh me'ayin. Although it's also Lakus, but it's not the Eibishter revealing himself the way he is, rather he's revealing himself the way he's not, so to speak, the way we explain. So that's what he starts saying. Agam, Shakelim and Gam Kinat Silos, although Kelim are also a revelation of the Eibishter. So he says, but this is the way the Eibishter revealing himself, not in a straightforward way. The Kapis. Nizeo. Nizeo, it's in a way like a nitzut. Kemei nitzut, just like a spark. Shu eisi amuhuz v'nivdal. It's a part. It's the same makeup of the fire, but it's separate. You don't see the whole flame in it. Shaking the air, you could already the light coming out of the flame. You could relate it. You see that's the flame shining, or the same thing. Shemesh. The sun is shining, expressing itself. You don't say that this light comes from, it's thanks to something. It is the sun itself expressing itself. That's by air. By Kelim, it's coming from it. So part of him, it is Keach. So therefore he says like this. Kelim, the way they are, Lagabi, their source in Ak. And also the way the Sherish of Kelim, this is all, we didn't learn this. This is all in the brackets. The Gabi, the source in Ak, and the Eiser, Rashim, Achrat, Tzimtzum, Eini B'chinas Shinamahus. It's not changing of being. Why? Because it's the same entity. It's Keich HaGvul, now coming in action. We have the Sherish of Keich HaGvul, the Eiber's ability to hide himself, and here he's actually hiding himself. But, so the Nela, it's not a different entity, even though here it's a much a smaller scale. Here it's the Keich HaGvul, here it's a Sir Prati of the Keich HaGvul. But it's the same entity, it's not something changing. Gabi Ein Sof HaBlikvul, but when we speak to Ein Sof HaBlikvul, that means the Eibishter, the way he's revealing his Pshitas. And the Gam, this all we didn't learn, we skipped it. The Gam, the Gabi Rashimu, Lifnei Tzimtzum, Hareheim Be'ein Arech. But even the Gabi Rashimu, the way it's Lifnei Tzimtzum, that means the way Keich HaGvul is Lifnei Tzimtzum, which over there, he gives the Moshel, Eisach Hikem Eiver Leiver, there's nothing but the rock, even though that there's letters, but it's not seen as a separate entity. It's the, so to speak, the rock carved itself in these letters. That's the mile of engraved letters. Soft, you see the letters and you see the rock, two entities. When you see it's through and through, you can't look at it without seeing the rock. In other words, it's made up, even though both are made up from the rock. But here, you could you could distinguish one without the other. Here, you have the rock, you have the letter. There's no achiza, you can't really differentiate and say here's the Metzius ha'eis and Mikam Ve'elach is Metzius ha'evan. The evan itself, by definition, brings it out, which would mean in the nimshal, the eivish is tachas ha'pshitis. B'meli has side blikvul, side vul. Lifnei tzimtzum is no, you don't see it as two kavim. Such a great, so poshut, so undefined, so it could or come in a revealed way or a hidden way, and both are expression of one Ein Sof. The Eibishter is Ein Sof. Not if we give the moshul, the father giving the child the akoeh. In the father's point of view, it's an outcome of aveh. The akoeh, he loves him so much. That's why he's giving him. The child doesn't see that part. He only sees the akoeh, and that's why it affects him. It helps him. It makes him. If he would only see the way the father sees it, not necessarily would he get the message. Of course, the Eibishter can make what you do in that message, but if you feel the father loves him so much, wherever you are, I really like you, he would never get the message. He wouldn't know you have to get better. The fact the father hid himself in the Shiur, he just captures the Shiur. That's what happened in the Tzimtzum. Tzimtzum made we should not see what's hiding behind the Keich HaGvul, that really is the Pshitas Ein Sof. We start seeing it as Gvul, Keich HaGvul. So that it says, even Lagabi the Rashimu Lifnei Tzimtzum is Altzarei Be'ein Arech. And Ad Kedekach we say, Yesu Mishein Arech Hasil Lagabi Atzilis Ein Arech Atzilus L'gabe Ein Sof. Why? Because Shiur L'gabe Shiur has some sort of erech. Even though that's the way Elokus hat sich ausgestellt in dem Shiur, it's Chesed, the way it's inside Elokus, Chochme, V'lei B'chochme Yediyah, but Sof, it's the shadish. This is the shadish for why there is any chokhmah on any level that it will exist. Masha'enkin chokhmah gabe pshitus. You can't say that this is expressing the pshitus, even though it's here be'emes. Be'emes is thanks to the pshitus. But the fact that I could look at it and not see the way it's coming from pshitus, the pshat is that step. That's ein arich, and that's even a greater ein arich. Again, we're not speaking about the etzim fact that we were created from nothing, the yeshus of the nivre. That's the biggest ein arich. Here regarding to the tziyur of the nivre, the tchunas of the nivre, the chayis of the nivre, the way he lives. Like I said, the nefesh of the sheir down here is a shtalshus ilaviyol from the sheir pnei sheir shever merkava. The aryeh down here, the nefesh of the lion, is a shtalshus pnei aryeh shever merkava. Although it went through so much transformations, still sof it's part of this way of life. It's gvuras, whatever it is in each particular scenario. But the fact that there is a guf of the aryeh that exists, or even in the nefesh itself, the fact that it's not dovuk lolukos, the fact that it's an entity, a selfish entity, that had to go over this bridge of yesh ma'ayin. But in regard to the tzir, the tchunas, again, that's ishtalshus. But tzir, the gabe pshitus, you'll never find in pshitus any tzir. It's not that it came part of the pshitus became tzir. He hid himself. He withheld his pshitus. That's when we started seeing a tzir of tzir, which is in the end of the day hell. So you say any.
So in the general idea of chokhmah, concealment is the point then.
Yeah. Chokhmah, any level, the highest level of chokhmah is the first keli, the first way the Eibush to express itself in this certain way. Even Chochmah is going to say the highest expressions. Chochmah is going to tell us how the Eibush can not verstehen. We can't understand the Eibush. That's what Chochmah is going to. He's going to explain. But that itself, leis machshavet fisabach. Why do we have to relate to something? That relating, that's a Chassidus. In a sense, even greater than the way we exist down here. Our Chochmah legabe the Chochmah Matzilus. The Koyach Shabbat, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
It's not Nagaya, but question regarding the Hakah.
Hakah back. Okay.
You have how the son can look at it, but what about how your wife looks at it?
There's Hakah b'dvarim is worse. You're saying how the wife looks at you hitting the child?
It's unsupportable by the wife. She thinks you're an animal.
The answer to this is...
Don't hit your children. Don't hit your children.
It's like you
don't have to hit a child today. You give him one good stare down, he'll know for the rest of his life that he did something wrong. You don't have to hit him. You make sure. Take it from an experienced father.
The oldest around.
I did this, I did that. I see the other way works better.
The thing is that if we would be able to really have Ava b'shas, not coming out of frustration, then it would work. Then also the wife would see it. The mensch is a cleaner. The person became the person lost himself, whatever.
Yeah.
Friedrich Rebbe says that twice his father, or once.
Give him a little.
Whatever, I don't know exactly how little, whatever. It seems like
it's like galette.
I like him, but it was not galette. Or maybe he felt it as a punch. Maybe that's the way.
Yeah,
whatever. Fine.
Which that itself shows that he didn't do it out of frustration. Because when you do it out of frustration, you get that. I've seen it.
That was exactly what it says, that if the Gvura comes out of Chesed, there's going to be Chesed in the Gvura. Mm-hmm. What is it? That there's going to be, it's not going to be, it's going to be Mugbal. It's not going to be, yeah.
Which means you won't feel guilty afterwards?
He says two stages why to be Chesed. First, he says two reasons. First, he says that it's going to be Mugbal, it's not going to be so much Gvura. Secondly, that afterwards the child will turn around and realize that it's coming from Ava. He says, what doesn't matter. Anyways, fine. Gehen weiter. Okay. Go, I guess you have to go yourself or whatever. Fine. Okay, we invite. This all is true to say that it's ein arech, it's not gilei helem, that's kelim. Avalei is that silus hareim b'chinas gilei helem and sofa maitzil. They are gilei helem. Nice, that's going on all different levels how it's gilei helem. Shade. First of all, is avusim yakav hu b'chinas kiru. Here seemingly he's going malamatlamet. First of all, it comes from Kav, and from Kav, the way it comes out, the ages of Atzilus from Kav is the name of Kiruv. Sharei ha'er kosher v'dovek b'en entzaf ha'maitzu kishal hefes akshur b'gechelas, which means it's extension. It's not something new coming about. It's connected. What shall hefes akshur b'gechelas is connected to the gechelas, and it's coming out of the fire which was in the coal. It's not something new coming out. It's connected, which means you see it. Where it's coming from. That's actually the B'chinas Kiruv. The Kav, is being expressed. The Pshitus is being expressed in there. You don't see a certain way of being in the air. Air is partial. So that's one level of seeing the Kiruv and Kedi. That the Mokker is Aksacharizda. Like we said the other time, that what do you see in where we could where do we see air in nefesh order? Where we could trace back and say that it's air. The fact that the nefesh is doing this chesed, that's already there. The fact that we say it's not an act of chesed, it's not a areas of chesed. There is a nefesh behind it. It's not the nefesh the way it is b'afshatasi, which b'chal doesn't relate to anything. But there's somewhere we could start tracing back. Has to be a person behind it. There's something behind it that's doing the chesed. It's not just. Now you're going a step higher, because he's going to want to connect the aid is coming all the way from Moker Nefin of Gilei Helem. So he says v'chein hakav meirin sof baruch hu meirin sof hareu gam kim b'chinas dveikus. Kav meirin sof is also dveikus. Meshkos v'tzchaim sha'akav negeh v'dovuk bein sof baruch hu. It's Loshe v'tzchaim. The kav is touching and it's dovuk in sof baruch hu. What does it mean? Negeya v'dovuk bein sof. What does it mean? It's dovuk. What's b'chlal? What is the avon of dveikus? When we say something is dovuk to something else, what does it mean? What's the avon that something is dovuk? So always we say something is dovuk. What is pshat dovuk? Begashmis. It's connected. They put together two things. They're stuck together. It's not connected. This is one thing, this is another thing, and then you put together a tape, a scotch tape, or a glue. It's not connected, they have nothing in common. Even after they're connected, not connected. What does it mean, dveikus? More than that. When you say even something is interested in something higher than themselves, they get involved in something. Could we call it dveikus? We could say one thing is involved in something else. Is it considered dveikus? Dveikus is a whole different level. Why? Even when something gets involved in something, if there's the him, there's the who is getting involved, it's already not dovuk. Say Rav Talmud. The Talmud, Rebbe v'Chassid. When the Talmud, the Chassid realizes that he has nothing other than the Rebbe, that's when you say it's dovuk. It's not the pshat is that he's coming now, he's going to get something. Let's hear what the Rav has to say. That's not dveikus. He's a mitzvah niatzmei. It's mekabel from the Rav. We're saying a Rav Talmud, a Rebbe v'Chassid, dveikus amitis. The pshat is his whole entity. He realizes that everything that exists is the hashpah from the tzaddik, is the hashpah from the lakus. It's not that he's cleaving. He realized that really everything has nothing to him besides the mokeh. You can say Eir HaShemesh is dovuk b'amoy. What pshat? It's dovuk. There's nothing to the Eir HaShemesh but that the Shemesh is meir. It's not that he has an entity and now we see how he's coming from it. The Eir HaShemesh realizes, and that's the way we see it, that is the moir is b'izgalos. The source is being revealed. That's pshat. There's nothing. That's pshat dovuk. There's no nekudin and no part in that's outside of the mokeh, besides the mokeh.
So how does it relate with Avak Be'ishto?
I was just going to ask the same thing.
So if you learn Chassidus, you learn Kabbalah, then Kabbalah very big into that. It's palga the goof. It's a half a body. It's really half a neshama. It's really one neshama. It's not two.
So
It's
source.
really himself.
It's source.
The Dovak B'Ishta means it's really one entity. At the end of the day, it's not one cleaving to another. The Shorshe, it's one unit. It's one existence. It's ultimate Achdus. That's the ultimate Achdus. Not that Pshat that, even though you'll see other places of Chassidus, Dvekas Nikeres, Dvekas Shein Nikeres, but the end of the day is, when we say Dvekas means it's a realization that really we're one. Saying Achdus Yisrael, really we're all one. But MS, all Yidden are one body, one entity. This is whatever, which part we are, but it's one body. It's not the one and another. It's one Nekuda. Palga de Guf, the Lashon Hazeyar. It's one unit. It expresses itself in the children. As you see, it's one thing, and it came from both. The Shorshe, we'll be able to see the weights in the Shadish, and then that's going to be Mashiach comes. We'll start seeing in everything, and really it's one. That's going to be the beauty of Mashiach. This is the beauty, the Emes and this Galavan. That's really all one entity. That's what Dveikis. So on Eir is Dovak B'Keir. That's in the first moment in Basel Gani, the Rebbe says the chiluk of Nivra and Eir. Nivra is a creation, something other than the Eibishter. Even if he's dependent in his existence, but he feels himself as an other entity. Even though he understands that he can't exist without the Eibishter, but he's not Dovak with a Pelkat B'Agashos, and his feeling, he's a separate entity. He's something other. It's B'Agashos, Mitzusim Atzmusi. I need to eat, I want to do this, I want to do... What's the I? Everything is the Eibishter. Never then, I can't help myself. That's a Nivra. But Eir, Kol Minyan is revealing the Mocker. What's that revealing? The Mocker is being revealed. The Mocker is showing itself. The Mocker decided now to express itself. So therefore the Eir is Dovuk B'Moed. Has nothing to it but the Mocker.
So the Chelak Alakad that we have in us is
Dovuk B'Moed. In this Gufa there is... It says in Chassidus, in Perek Lamed Hey, the Alter Rebbe says that the Neshama also needs mitzvahs, while Chur is Dovuk B'Moed. But not. Because once the neshama came down here, it became a nivra. Of course, not a nivra. Lashon Chassidus needs explanation for itself. Whenever in the Lashon of Chassidus is in the Tanya, he says that even why isn't enough the person why is it not enough that he has a neshama that should be connected with the Eibishter? Why does he need to have also mitzvahs? He says because even at Tzkam Shia, he's going to be a tzaddik gomer, Eved Hashem, and Yidin, and Ave Betanugim, he'll never come, the Lashon is le'yagia le'mailas dvikusi. He'll never get to the way he was cleaved le'mailo before he came down here. The fact that he's down here, there's yesh mishev. There's someone that likes the Eibishter, and he's not Ephes. But merely he can't have the Eibishter being revealed in him. Only through mitzvahs. What's mitzvahs? I'm doing it not out of my will. This is what the Eibishter wants. That's when he becomes Dovak to the Eibishter. Good to understand which level of tzaddik, even the Lashon of there is tzaddik gomer.
but the neshama itself, the Chelak Alakad itself, that means
the weights and the level of Tahiri, then it's Dovak B'Moed. Once it comes out to Barasa, so then it needs to have Tahiri mitzvah to connect it. True, if we go back to Sherish and Neshama, and Hanami is though, but that itself also needs a whole other why it's called Chelek.
The Shalom comes down, it's a Nechayz Dagi.
It comes in Nasanivri, yeah.
Then Aliyah is that much of Aliyah.
It's a Aliyah, coming higher, and those gufas that come in Dagas, and this is a whole sugi. It's ultimately to realize that then there's another question. If in the Sherish is already Dovok, and after it's going to come back Dovok, what do you have to have the whole middle situation?
Because higher than it was born.
Huh?
It ends up going higher than it was originally.
What the pshat, what the vana. In the ultimate Sherish is Mushish Ba'atzmas.
But if
The state does it.
That's the
If it had to come down.
Baruch Toshav Elokim Hashem Nesama.
Shenesona.
No, say was
What the ganze
verdient.
Wo ist das Herrchen? Also nicht wirklich,
Aber der Rebbe sagt, von der Kelim Teire ist einmal steht, der Rebbe ist verschiedene Aspekte. Pnimis HaKelim, and then it becomes the Eir, and the Sherish and Shom is a Pnimis HaKelim. But the Eir, Stoff, the Guf of the Malka become part of the Eir. On a most state, Anche Kedish Tiyuli, that already it's Mushish and Eir before. So what they did, it's sort of Hezbollah, and not the latest Hezbollah I saw, Chassidus lately I saw it. The Rebbe says the Chiddush is that even in the Shama Melubeshes Beguf will also be connected. That even the way I feel myself today, even that should connect. That's the Chiddush. That's the Chiddush. That's ultimately the idea of Dirib Tachtenim. Generally, Chassidus say Dirib Tachtenim means in the world, but the Rebbe emphasis brings that Lashon from Samavov that the Iker Kavon is Lord the B'Neshamas Yisrael. The Eibush is going to, and through them it's going to be in the world, but ultimately is in the Yid. What the Yid is Tachtenim. The way he's down here is tachtin. The chiddush of the tzedek aliyah. What's the aliyah? The ufta. What is he going to gain? That even the way he's like the way he's here, he also could connect.
Dan kan gaan kunnen we die begin.
Yeah. We did brilliant. Yeah, that's good for this also so has be was psat der tachtin. Goed, eenmaal dat je in Zgala met de Zgala is altijd ze in was dat tachten.
Yeah, we're all called boss.
No, it's felt the tiny baby.
He's saying that Veda now is tiny baby. There's tiny near. It's not because but the lost is in Zgala to us the tiny baby.
Ja, so das verdient der Neshama. Das verdient der Neshama. Der tiny baby, das ist früher nicht gewesen. Weil durch seine Weide hat Gerem gewinnt.
Shaila is the name saying he has a pale, so really everything. It's a ain't
Aber der Ewisch oder so, nicht von Neshama. Okay, whatever. Wie nicht wie, der Neshama...
But pale, this is the only way to connect.
The Neshama, wie nicht wie, is a nidra.
Yeah. That's theory we didn't have before. The shadow is in bosses that size schatch. Whatever. In some of us speak about ariches. What's this schatch?
Aber jetzt.
Es ist aufgeht. So eine Ashimi. Ani avayle shanisi. Was ich schon. Wie guckt der Rebbe der Welt? We never saw ourselves the way we are today. Wie said der Rebbe der Heint? Also called Batsmuse oder wir sind
Well, safe. Everything is called about smooth. Or at least he has a potential for whatever. There's a potential. There's everything. Everything is there.
So Lashon to Shalom, there's an edge that we can never understand.
There's what?
There's a brag, but we can't understand begin. The acht Zavaye. Well, Chiyotim זה זה.
אבל חזרו כל הזמן לנקודה שיש רק אותו